Welcome everyone to In Our Truck Night in America, live here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Timberland 200 in the third race of the Gamebridge Truck Series Chase. Last weekend, on Sunday, we saw David Dixon get the win after Monica Pato dominated the whole race, but unfortunately she could not make it to the end. Will that be a case here tonight? Will we see more strategy that we've seen this past couple weeks where all these races have turned into field mileage races? Will New Hampshire be the same? We're going to have to find out soon here, folks, but it's finally time to race on a Wednesday night, one of the shortest turnovers of the year, but we're going to be racing here on a Wednesday, and then we'll be back in Canada for the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park race here next Sunday. So a good slate of races this week, 3 races technically. So folks, let's head down trackside and get all the info we need to know. And we start off tonight here with your weather report, and you can see, folks, that it is 78 degrees here in New Hampshire, so a pretty cool day. 7-mile-per-hour winds going northwest, a 1.058 mile oval, so just over a mile, but it's still a speedway. They do race like a short track, though, so it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out. But a lot of guys that are typically good at speedway qualified up front here today. But New Hampshire, a very unique track, so it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys attack it here today. 75 laps. The pole winner is Brandon Haynes, so Brandon Haynes gets his second pole win on the season. And the last time we saw him on pole was Las Vegas, so hopefully he can translate it this time around here. But it's going to be 75 laps here at New Hampshire, so hopefully tonight we don't see too much strategy have to be played. We've seen the past couple weeks the strategy is key. Guys try to run long, and they're just not able to make it, so maybe the teams have finally figured something out where they just pit at the right time instead of losing out on everything they raced for by pitting right before the checkered flag. So hopefully that does not happen. We've seen it at Watkins Glen. We saw it at Richmond. Hopefully it doesn't happen here tonight. But folks, as we get into our chase standings coming to this one, you see Peter Onjak still has a solid lead over everyone. I'd say everybody from 7th on back has about, everybody 7th on back is a race behind, but everybody in the top 6 is looking very good. Only about 24 points that's separating all of them from Peter Onjak. So this title fight is still heating up. Peter Onjak, the regular season champion, one of the best driver in the series right now. Looking good. Some guys may lose hope on their championship efforts, but I still think there is many opportunities to challenge Onjak, especially with being consistent. Hubert, Ayers, Dixon got his second one of the season last weekend at Richmond. They've all been consistent so far to start off the chase, and it's paid off for them. And Hubert, he could very well challenge Onjak. Hubert always starts in the top 10. He's always doing good, and he's always been consistent. And we'll see if consistency is what is key here in this chase, as there's a lot of tricky tracks that can shake everything up. So it'll be very interesting to see how this one goes here in New Hampshire, where we have a lot of chase drivers in the top 10, top 15, like we saw at Darlington 2 weeks ago. Because last weekend at Richmond, we saw a very scattered, I guess you could say, qualifying lineup, and that really shook up the race. We saw Monica Pato and Rox D'Angelo dominating most of that one. So here tonight on a Wednesday night, hopefully it is a little bit different, folks, but that pretty much is the chase standings coming to this one. And before anything, let's take a look at our drivers to look out for coming to this race. I would start off with the top 2 in this one, just based off qualifying. The number 38 Peter Onjak and the 45 Brandon Haynes. These two have been duking it out on the ovals the second half of the season. I think it's going to be another great battle between these two here today. And then for my next drivers to look out for, I'm going to go with that 13 of Patrick Finderop. Finderop been looking very good these past couple weeks. If it wasn't for the failed pit strategy at Richmond, Finderop would have finished, I believe, in the top 5. So he's really solid at these type of tracks, and he just has to get a good performance here today. And then the next driver I'm going to go to for my 4th driver to look out for here today, it is going to be probably, I would say, that number 02 of Adrian Gale. We really saw him be fast at Darlington Raceway. His engine gave up, but I still think Gale has the pace to do something, and he's starting on that inside line. And the inside line, always good at these race starts, so I do think Adrian Gale is going to be a driver to look out for, especially with the pace. Last weekend he wasn't too good at Richmond, but at Darlington we saw him do good, so I think this 02 team has the grit and the hungriness to actually fight for a race win here today. So that's pretty much it for our drivers to look out for and overlook at the chase standings. You can take a look at your lineup coming into this race. Once again, Brandon Haynes on pole. On his outside will be Onjak leading us to green. And then we have Lane Lotta back in row 2 alongside him, the number 13 Patrick Finderop. Row 3 will be the number 92 Sergio Vittoria and the 91 Arago Dorn. And then Ryan Little, Hubert, Gale, and Rowe round out your top 10. Hubert and I mean, Little and Doran, both drivers for McNally Racing, run into some bad luck as of late, but these two both qualify really well at these oval tracks, and I do think Doran and Little can take advantage of that here today and really get their points day going, because these two have been a really solid duo for that McNally Racing team. And then some surprises here in the qualifying. Chris James and Quincy Buchanan qualifying pretty well for their teams. Eric Monaco as well. Monaco was running about third or so most of the last week, last Sunday's race. So I do think he'll look pretty solid. Davey Wallace as well, the Philly native, he's looking good. Nicholas Torres, Emily York Watson qualifies pretty good coming into this race. She made her debut last week and didn't go quite too well, but I think she could be pretty solid this week. And then we got last week's winner, David Dixon, starting pretty well, row 9. And then behind that, you got Lexi Herman, Zach Thompson, Carl Young, Matt Morley. William Ayers not starting too well. And then we got Hallie Anderson Jr., Joseph Wood. And then in rounding out your field will be the number 99 Amanda Candamo Jr. and the number 11 of Bjorn for Jornson. You see Caden Arcadia there in row 16. Hasn't had quite the start they've wanted to their Gainbridge Truck Series career. Trevor Vaden, the hometown guy, not starting too well in this one, and back all the way back in row 18. Him and Stephen Colon not having the greatest performances, but Colon just did not have a good performance last weekend either with Arcadia on their debut, so we'll see if they're able to turn it around. Skylar Taylor starting all the way back here after looking really good last weekend at Richmond, so we'll see if Taylor's able to drive his way through, but just not a great overall qualifying effort for some of these guys. But besides that, everyone, I think with no further ado, it's time to get these trucks fired and ready to go here for New Hampshire and get this race underway. It's going to be 75 laps. Should be a good one. New Hampshire always a solid, underrated track. We'll probably see a couple battles throughout. At Richmond, we saw a lot of midfield battles, but with no further ado, folks, let's head down even closer to these trucks and get these trucks fired off for the Timberland 200.
Drivers, start your engine!
You see the trucks are fired off and ready to go here, folks. Oh, no, not again. The number 98 of Chris Martins is not going to get fired off, but everybody else looks like they're going to be fine. But once again, the trucks are fired off and ready to go besides the number 98 of Chris Martins here. But Brandon Haynes will lead us to green. On his outside will be the regular season champion, Peter Onjak. But that number 98 of Chris Martin's having some issues already in this one. It looks like it's a loose wheel off the start. So that number 98 team, after having a great weekend at Richmond, Chris Martin is very happy about his performance. But it doesn't look like they're going to get the greatest start here today at New Hampshire. Hopefully they can get that truck fired off and ready to go. But that is not the start to this this Wednesday night race here at New Hampshire. With no further ado, folks, the green flag is out for the Timberland 200. And coming to complete the first lap, the number 98 of Chris Martin still stopped on pit road, but the 45 Brandon Haynes side by side with the 38 of Peter Onjak for the lead. Haynes working on that inside line, side by side racing 2 rows deep. And now Onjak's going to settle into second. Now that 71 Atlanta Lineback, does he give Onjak a shot here? He might look to the inside there. He's not. Chris Martin's still stuck on pit road, but unfortunate circumstances for that number 98 team. We saw them run into issues at, I believe it was, actually he's about to come off the pit road right now, I believe, here soon. But we saw those issues at, I think it was, we saw it at Eldora, and then we saw it somewhere else. But meanwhile, the 38 of Peter Onjak looked like he was giving the number 45 a look for the lead, and he actually is. There goes Peter Onjak now diving to the inside of the number 45 of Brandon Haynes. And Peter Onjak, if he is able to clear him, he will get the lead in this race, but that 45 still sticking on the outside line. That number 98, Chris Martins, finally got the truck fired off and ready to go. But these two are battling side by side. They're near contact between Haynes and the 71 Landon Lineback. Sanjo Vittoria now filing into fourth behind the Patrick Finderop. Raul Goldorn to the 91. The 19 Ryan Little looking to the inside there of the 7 of Matthew Hubert for a second, but Hubert's going to use that outside line maybe to get around them. And these two are going to be racing side by side now. And it looks like Hubert's going to get the pass off as Gale and Little are going to round out the top 10 with this number 77 of Alexander Rowe. And Rowe now, he might get a look here for that number 22 of Chris James. It doesn't quite look like it, but there goes Nathan Stapleton in those Sirius XM colors looking to the inside now. Last week's winner, David Dixon, got his second win on the season. The teammate of Nathan Stapleton right behind him in that number 5, Thompson's Pipe Group machine. And now Stapleton looking to the inside. He has yet to get a race win on the year, been very good, but just has not been able to do it. And now looking to the inside. Doesn't quite get any. He actually is going to get it now. He is trying to get past this number 22 of Chris James, but James still sticking it in there. Almost thought there was a caution for a second. Had to look up front. But now does this Stapleton get the elbows out? No, he's not. Our first set of lap traffic up here today will be the number 98 of Chris Martin's, already probably a couple laps down. Did not get a start yet. 3 laps down. That's not the way you want to start this race. You had a loose wheel or something, and that just hindered his start. But right now, Peter Onjak leading. Brandon Haynes, our pole sitter, all the way down the third here at New Hampshire. Now that 38 going to look to the outside of the 98 of Martins, but Martins is not going to go lightly. He has a fast truck, and now he's going to battle on with this 38, and this could open the door for the 71 of Landon Laudenbach here possibly, as that number 98 is not going to be easy to get by. I'm pretty sure he qualified pretty well in this race, so he does have a decent truck. He only had a loose wheel, so he doesn't really have any damage. It was just a issue, I'm pretty sure. We see right here, it was, there's 2 damage, but barely anything. But that does invite Landon Laudenbach into the party here, as he now is going to close up right on the back of this 38 of Onjak, and so will the 45 Brandon Haynes, the 92 of Vittoria, and the 13 of Fenderop, as now Matthew Hubert trying to close in on this number 91 of Raul Goldorn, running in 6th currently. See, Stapleton finally got by that number 22, Chris James. So did his teammate, the number 5 of David Dixon, and then back behind him, Matt Morley's starting to make his way through the field. There goes Emily York Watson, currently running, I believe, 20th, so she's starting to make up some ground a little bit. And I think so, so 20th currently for that team. And there goes William Ayers now right behind this 27 of Zach Thompson. There's Lexi Herman, who finished 5th in her debut last weekend, so hopefully she can keep up the streak, but she's going to have to drive her way through the field here tonight at New Hampshire. Yeah, Martins does not go down lightly. He will be a tough lap traffic, and I do think this 7 of Matthew Hubert might take a peek at this number 91 here soon. He's getting a little bit antsy behind this number 91 truck, and already 10 laps in, and we have a lot of chase drivers in this top 10. A different story from last weekend where we didn't see a lot, but there goes now Patrick Finderop, one of the bright spots of the second half of the season, looking to the inside. He brought some life to that number 13 team, and now in that Kodak machine, he is looking to the inside of this number 92 of Sanjo Vittoria. And as he does that, I think Hubert might give this 91 a look behind them as well. But Vittoria going to battle back on that outside line and hold off this number 13 of Patrick Finderop. So Vittoria making that outside line work here. But right now, Peter Onjak still leading. He's got a pretty good gap over the 71 of Landon Laudenbach, but the 45 and 71 are not going to back off. A pretty straightforward 75 laps. Hopefully strategy isn't scrambled here, but right now they are looking pretty good. That 77 of Alexander Rowe and the 02 of Gale look like they're battling for a second, but Gale running really well. He's actually had some pretty good runs. Just that blown engine just did not help his chase efforts at all. He is sitting near the bottom of the chase, but I think he's really turning in some good momentum. And even though he got that engine problem and whatever, and was kind of non-existent at Richmond last weekend, I do think this 02 team does have pace here and the drive here to do something in this chase. And now Haynes looks like he's possibly gaining some time on that number 71 of Landon Lauderback, as he, for a second, looked like he was closing right up on the back of him, but now he's going to back off a little bit once again. We'll see when they all come in. Rocco Dorn getting very sideways out of that corner, trying to pass the lap traffic of Chris Martins, and that's going to open the door for Matthew Hubert to look to the inside. Hubert's got 3 race wins on the season. The first driver to multiple race wins, and now the first driver to 3 race wins. He won at Talladega, Atlanta, and Indianapolis, and now he's looking to the inside of Rocco Dorn, and so will Rocco Dorn's teammate, the number 19 of Ryan Little here possibly. Kansas 91 fight back on the outside. They got lap traffic up ahead, and there goes the 77. There goes the 17, Nathan Stapleton, getting into this battle for the outside of the top 10 is now Alexander Rose side by side with them. So a good amount of battles right now between all these drivers. That 91 of Rocco Dorn still sticking it on the outside. Hubert might get the elbows out here, but no, they're going to still be racing side by side down the backstretch. Rocco Dorn is no slouch. He's probably won the most fan votes, I think, all season. I don't know. It might be, it might be the Dutch fans voting for Rocco Dorn, but man, oh man, he has won quite a lot of fan votes. Not this week though. It was actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me see. It was somebody a little bit out of the box. It got tied between Peter Ronjak and Patrick Finderop, but for a moment there, Patrick Finderop was the fan vote leader for most of the time it was out. All these guys still staying in close distance of each other. This top 5 here, but Dorn falls all the way behind Hubert. Hubert now trying to pass this number 98 of Martins. He has not been any help to these guys to stay within this lead top 5, and now Hubert does. He finally try to get past this 98 of Martins. We know Hubert's aggressive. He might even move him out the way if he has to. So you finally get past the lap traffic. Dorn now. Ryan Little might take another peek at his teammate here. No, he's not going to do it, but closing up right on the back of this number 91 of Dorn. And if Dorn doesn't make a move here, that 19 might look to the inside. Now these guys are going to get held up as there goes the 77 of Alexander Rowe going a little bit wide, and there goes the 02 of Gale looking to the back of him. So now Gale possibly challenging this 77 here for 9th. And Nathan Stapleton going around the outside now. That 02 of Gale dug it way too deep. He got a little bit loose. That 17 of Nathan Stapleton had to react fast, and he went wide now. This 19 Ryan Little still trying to get past his teammate here. But these guys running really wide, and you have to wonder if the tire wear is falling off now as the 02, the 17, all of them are starting to run a little bit wide. Peter Onjak will see when everybody comes down. Someone might look for an undercut on Onjak. That probably would be the smart move. Brandon Haynes jumping out of line a little bit here, possibly trying to gain some time on this number 71 of Landon Lauderback to get past them. But you have to assume pit stops are going to start here. As you can see, the tire wear fall off is happening. Is that 19 a little is going to run a little bit wide now? He's got that 77 of Alexander Rowe challenging him though. So those two are going to battle now, but I'm really curious when we will see our first green flag pit stops of the day here at New Hampshire. We look to the back of the pack. The 97 of Colin not running too well. The number 1 Skylar Taylor had a great week last weekend, not faring too well either. This 39 of Caden Arcadio in his second race, running currently 30 seconds. So not the greatest start to his Truck Series career, but he is still fighting. And that 30 of Lexi Herman is still not getting past anyone so far. You see that 25 of Carl Young right now, closing way in on the back of that number 33 of Davey Wallace. And now these guys will be side by side once again, and I can tell the tire wear is falling off and this 91 of Rocco Dorn is not getting around this 98 of Chris Martins, and he is only holding up the rest of these guys, and this is allowing Matthew Hubert to drive away as Brandon Haynes now closing up on the back of this 71 of Landon Lauderback. Our first lap traffic of the day here might be pretty soon with that number 99 of Manny Candamo Jr. and the 97 of Stephen Collins. So Haynes trying to dig deep and get close to this number 71. Raul Dorn finally going to use his brain and go to the outside of Chris Martins here and get around them because he has been stuck behind this lap traffic all night. And now the 17 and Nathan Stapleton stuck behind Martins. So now they finally use their head and get past him. And, oh, Stapleton, he's going to get into the back of this number 98. He's going to make it 3 wide. Stapleton rubbing doors with this number 98 as he was getting very close there. This is going to be still 3 wide between them as they're still managing to keep it going. Ryan Little probably having PTSD from that Darlington wreck, and now this 98 of Martin's trying to close off in front of the Australian Adrian Gale. So lots of battling going on between this top 5 here, and that 38's starting to gain some time. I don't know why I had the ticker all the way down. Sorry about that. That 38's starting to gain some time on the 71, while this 45, Brandon Haynes, looked like he was going to give a look to the 71 at one point, but now doesn't quite look like it's going to be the case. Now 17 of Stapleton going to run really wide, get the elbows down that number 19, and he's going to clear him now, and he's going to get up to 9th place as these guys finally get around Chris Martins, and now David Dixon here running in, I would say, 12th. Yeah, he's going to now have to deal with them pretty soon. No pit stops just quite yet here at New Hampshire, but you have to assume they're happening here eventually as they are just losing more and more grip. You can tell the lines are running, and we'll see what this 38 of Onjack does, but he has dominated this first half of this race. Dove to the inside of that 45 of Brandon Haynes, and from there, Haynes just had no answer, and Haynes is now stuck behind that 71 of Raul Dorn, so maybe the Pulster to consider something out, maybe do an undercut, but right now, closing up on lap traffic, you have to wonder what is the game plan for all these teams. You got a good line of trucks up ahead all the way up to, looks like 30th with Joseph Wood. No, 28th with Joseph Wood. So a big line of lap traffic which could heavily impact this race. You see the 38, the leader, are already there along with everyone else. But these guys now starting to maybe make up some ground on this number 7 of Matthew Hubert. Hubert got out of that tassel with that number 98 very quickly now. And oh, that's 77 Alexander Rowe right on the back of Raul Dorn. And he's going to give him a bump and run. And he's going to look to the inside. He's going to get the elbows out there. So Alexander Rowe not qualify last weekend at Richmond, but here tonight at New Hampshire, he is really putting it all on the line. He is not afraid to rough up someone. Now that's going to allow Stapleton to look to the inside of both of them. Here comes Onjack now, closing up on this 99 of Manicanamo Jr. 30 laps in. We have yet to see pit stops in this one. You have to wonder if they're going to try to cut it halfway. We've seen the common issue be the past couple weeks. These drivers try to cut it halfway and just don't have anything to make it to the end. Hopefully that's not the case here tonight. It's 75 laps, so it's pretty straight up. If you can't make it, then I don't know what to say. Last couple races, these drivers have had some strategy issues and have pitted right before the finish, and hopefully we don't see that here today. There's not much I can really do to fix it because we haven't had this issue before. It's been the same pit rating all year. Now 97 and 18 are getting really close here, but we've had this issue all year, and I mean we haven't had this issue all year. It's only been the past couple of races, so hopefully these teams know what they're doing. But now this 38 of Onjack stuck behind the 97 and 18, and could this open the door possibly for Landon Lauterbach or Brandon Haynes to get involved in this hustle, in this tassel? And Onjack right on the back of this number 97 of Stephen Colin, as he's just not able to get a move, and the 97's not going to give him a line either, and this is allowing that number 71 of Landon Lauterbach to possibly get his name in the fight, but Onjack going to really force the issue there. Oh no, that's 97 of Stephen Colin really close to the back of him, and that could have ended badly if that 97 had anything else to say to that number 38, because if he went down just a little bit, Onjack there would have been just turned. We know Onjack is not afraid to get in a fight with someone, but now these drivers behind them are going to have to fight with these lap traffic, and Manicanamo Jr. is not going to make it easy for any of them, and this might allow this number 38 to gain some more time. Coming up to lap 35. When will they pit it? Right now, it doesn't look like anytime soon as they're still going. As there goes Brandon Haynes looking for second for a second, it looked like, but now this 38 stuck behind the 11 of Bjornsson, who's also not going to move out the way, as everybody else is stuck behind them as well. So this is just calamity here with this lap traffic, and Haynes and Loudon are not going to be able to get around them, and this is going to allow Onjak to put even more trucks in between them. A really big struggle. This has allowed Sergio Vittoria to enter the pictures. Now Cannonball might look to the inside of this 18 of James Daniel, but there goes Vittoria diving it down there. Close to lap 40. You wonder if they're able to run 35 laps on this tires. If they pit on lap 40, they should be good to the end if they don't use up their stuff. Landon Loudon closing in on this 38 of Peter Onjak. He is getting past all the side traffic, and so is Brandon Haynes. And now this 13 and 92 are all going to be stuck in this. Ryan Little looking to the inside of his teammate behind, but this is a very interesting battle to watch this lap traffic as he is completely pinned in now. Reggie Fogelman, who was not very nice to the leaders at, I want to say, complete Richmond, but now that 38 going to get past them, and now that 2 and 11, Gutierrez and Bjornsson, they're going to both be in front of the 71 and 45. Vittoria still stuck behind the 18 of James Daniel, the 97 of Cullen, and he might have to fend off this 13 Patrick Finderop as well as Loudon and, oh no, Loudon and Haynes right on the back of this number 11 of Bjornsson. And this 11 of Bjornsson is really allowing this 38 of Peter Onjak to gain a ton of time here, as he is putting tons of trucks in between him and this number 71. It's going to be 4 trucks here pretty soon, and yeah, that's not a good look there. That 11 still holding him up, and this 71 Landon Loudon back here might get impatient here soon, and he might just completely flat out dump this 11 if he has to. Because this number 38 cruising on that outside. Now trying to look to the outside of Carson Miller here and Hallie Anderson Jr., but they're not going to do it now. He's going to be boxed in, so we'll see how this plays out. But at this point, I mean, Landon Loudon holding them both up. He's not able to get around this 11 for Jordan. There goes Brandon Haynes diving to the inside. Haynes forcing the issue. He got tired of it. That actually helps out the number 71 of Landon Loudon, and there goes Brandon Haynes now looking for the undercut. He is down the pit road now. So Brandon Haynes looking for the undercut, the pole sitter. There goes Alexander Rowe, the 77 of, the 17 of Nathan Stapleton with them. So we'll see how that plays out for them. As now Peter Onjak, he's got a couple trucks in between him and this 71 Landon Loudon, but we'll see when he comes in. And it might be this time, it looks like. And yes, he does. Here he comes. Now coming down onto pit road. And that's going to put this number 13 of Patrick Finderop in the lead. So now, when does Finderop bring it in? He's going to have that. Doesn't look like anybody much accompanying him. There goes Brandon Haynes getting out of pit road there. And he's going to be in a pretty good spot here. This 13 of Finderop, I don't think he should have ran long here, as he's not going to gain too much time. And he's still going to be pushing it. Oh, and there he comes now down the pit road. For how sketchy of a pit road entrance it is, these guys are actually doing a pretty good job at keeping it clean. But here goes Brandon Haynes now looking for that undercut. Will it work out? And no, it doesn't quite look like it. He's going to lose a ton of time. Sergio Vittoria jumps the 71 on pit road, but that undercut for Brandon Haynes don't think is going to work out at all. So they make a bold strategy call, and now at this point they're going to have to be hoping for a caution as they lose a ton of time on pit road. I mean a ton. They just lost about 2 or 3 positions. So that is not good at all for this number 45 team. That shakes this one up quite a bit. And we'll see the ticker update here, but it is going to be this Number 38 of Peter Onjak in the lead. And he's going to be coming up on that 30 of Lexi Herman and the rest of them soon. But now this 92 of Sanjay Vittoria is now going to have to try to chase him down here at New Hampshire. And I think there will be no stops left in this race possibly. But there goes Haynes around the outside. And he's going to have to make up all this time he tried to gain on that overcut that did not work out. So it is going to be a tall task for him to do that. But right now, Sanjay Vittoria, oh no! The 81 land a lot back the home track driver. Home race driver, very close there, but this 92 of Sanjay Vittoria is carving through this field. I believe the 41 of Carson Miller, this is also his home race. I might be wrong on that, but I can check here real quick. But I do think it is Carson Miller's home race, I think. But, I mean, it's Chris Martin's, I guess you could say. Well, we don't run Dover, so, yeah, this is kind of Chris Martin's. But Carson Miller, yeah, this is definitely his home track from Vermont, but he's already getting passed by everyone. His Loudon back's going to really lose some time, and this 92 is not able to go around this 15 of Reggie Fogelman there, right on the back of him, and he's going to have to push him out the way, and now he is moving very fast through the field. Brandon Haynes still trying to gain some time. Richard Patrick Finderup runs long, doesn't gain too much time. Is going to have that 7 of Matthew Hubert right on his back now, and that 17 Nathan Stapleton gained a lot of time on pit road. So with just 30 laps to go in this race, this could shape up to be a pretty interesting finish depending on how this chase goes for Onjak, who is really ripping it around the outside, and I don't know how he's making that work. That 92 Vittoria is still trying to catch up, though. It's 42 Dylan Matiska and the 07 Giuseppe Martini. Onjak looking to the inside there for a second. There goes the 92 looking to the inside as well. So this 92 Vittoria is running down this 38 for the moment. This 45 Haynes stuck behind these guys. Atlanta linebacker might get into the picture here soon. But right now, Vittoria looking like he has a great truck on these fresh tires. And I have 3 trucks in between them in the 38, but he might be able to make quick work of them. The next truck will be the 75 of Sierra Cooper, I think. And this is going to have some chase drivers in here, the 31 and 9, Matt Morley and William Ayers, and then it's going to be Emily York Watson there. So they are running 19th, so making quick work here today at New Hampshire when it comes to lap traffic. Can't really control that too much unless you want to make it a plate race. But Vittoria going to really push it close to the number 30 of Lexi Herman there, as he is trying to gain up all the time he can on this number 38 of Peter Onjak. Just over 25 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Does anybody have an answer for the 38 machine who has led from about lap 5? Brandon Haynes was just not able to hold him off on that. Atlanta Loudon was challenging him. Peter Onjak just caught him napping, and that can happen as the 92 is going to be stuck behind this 07 Martini. This 38 is already going to get close to the back of this number 75 as the 92 still unable to get to the inside of this 07. Don't know if the 07 Giuseppe Martini is sandbagging for the 71 Atlanta Linebacker. Doesn't quite look like it. Now there goes Vittoria to the inside. He's going to have to try to make up as much time as he can on that 38 of Onjak. Next weekend here, this upcoming Sunday, matter of fact, in a couple of days, we will be heading to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So, unlike real life with NASCAR, now they don't know how to plan anything from going to Michigan to Mexico City. We actually know what we're doing because these drivers have gone from Richmond to New Hampshire, and now they'll be going to Canada. So, not too bad of a traveling for these Gainbridge Truck Series teams, as you know they were just making their way up the Atlantic coast, I guess you could say. But now there goes Vittoria to the inside of this 42, but Onjak's already put 2 trucks right back in between them. And Brandon Haynes splitting the middle here between this 21 of Joseph Wood and the 15 of Reggie Fogelman. And does Haynes shoot the gap? Haynes is going to get into the 21 of Joseph Wood. And he's also going to look to get past the 15 of Reggie Fogelman. It's not going to quite work, though. Now he's going to really rough up the 15 of Reggie Fogelman here. But now Vittoria, he's got two trucks in between him and the 38 of Onjak. And on top of that, Onjak is already making his way to a chase driver, the number 9 of William Ayers. So it looks like all the way up to, I don't even know, maybe, yeah, I would say the 99 Amanda Cannonball Jr. is going to get lapped in this race. And that is all the way up to, oh, Cannonball's already lapped down. The 22, Chris James. 12th could get lapped in this race. This 38's got a lot of speed under the engine, and he's going to put 4 trucks in between him and Sanjo Vittoria. And Vittoria looked like he was gaining ground at one point, but now it looks like he is completely stalled out. So these drivers are hoping for a caution at this point in the race. It's been green so far. There has not been any incidents, but now these guys are hoping for one. Now Vittoria's going to look to the inside. That's 52 and 75, but this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 trucks in between them, 5 before he passed that 52 of Eric Monaco. So looks like Peter Onjak could be very well on his way to winning this race, as he is completely checked out of this one. So now it looks like, yeah, this 38, I think there's not going to be any chance of anybody else catching up. He has just been world class here today. Started second this race. We really thought this could have been Brandon Haynes' day, but it doesn't quite look like it's going to be that for him. And right now you're wondering if these guys can make it to the end. We've seen time and time again the past couple of weeks they just underestimate how much fall off they'll have, and it just results in us having guys pitting just when they should not be. So it looks like it's just clean air currently for this number 38 of Peter Onjak, and this 92 of Vittoria has not been too good in clean air, it seems, as he's not closed up any ground on this number 9 of William Ayers. If you look at the upcoming tracks after this one, of course, we mentioned Canadian Tire here this Sunday, and then we'll be heading to Kentucky for the KFC 400. So that'll be an interesting race. Kentucky, we haven't seen that quite yet here in the Gainbridge Truck Series, so we'll see how these guys attack that mile and a half. Now Vittoria looking to the inside, number 9 of Peter Onjak. And I was curious, and the travel distance, because, you know, I was just curious. I did mention NASCAR and their Mexico City traveling issues as they went from all the way to Michigan all the way down to Mexico City. Traveling is not too bad for these Cup teams. They only traveled 10 hours here from Richmond Raceway to New Hampshire, and they only have to travel 8 hours from New Hampshire to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And they will have a pretty long 11-hour drive back to Kentucky Motor Speedway, but all in all, I mean, pretty good. I mean, we're at this point in this race where it's such a runaway that we're talking about traveling, but it looks pretty good for these teams. And now Onjak looking to the inside of the 33, Davey Wallace. And then after, even when they get to Kentucky Speedway, after that they head to Kansas, which is just a 7-hour drive. So I don't know if anybody cared. I was curious about how the traveling would be for these teams. But now the 71 Lamb Autoback has closed up a good amount of time on this 92 Sanjo Vittoria, who's now trying to get around. It's another chase driver of Matt Morley. But it looks like it could be too little too late for this number 92 team, as they just don't quite have enough in the tank, and they are going to finish second again. I think he finished second last week, if I'm not mistaken. That whole just that whole crazy finish was just... Anyways, he did finish third in that race, so he does have some momentum going into Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and this number 92 team has gotten really good at Speedway so far this season. I mean, at road courses throughout the season, so he could have a good performance there, but we will see. So we'll see if this lap traffic here poses a threat in the final 10 laps, but doesn't quite seem like that is going to be the case here. CF45 Haynes went for the undercut, and it just went terribly wrong. That might be the first time I've really seen the undercut not do anything, as he was just completely underestimated strategies. Now he's getting around Emily York Watson in her second race. So it has just been a doozy of a race here for sure, folks. As now there it goes. Bottom back to the inside now, and now the 92 has to just pass the 33 before Onjak gets to the next gaggle of trucks, but he is already making his way on the two Thor Sport trucks, the 88 and 98 of Chris Martins. Oh, these two might battle here, which I don't think it's going to do too much, but we are coming to 10 to go here in the Timberland 200, and Peter Onjak looks like he could be getting his fourth race win on the season. The regular season champion, we saw him win at Darlington to begin the chase, and it looks like after a rocky week last weekend, he might be showing back up, but with the road courses and short tracks we have left in this one, this championship still could be, in the hanging balance. Onjak's been pretty amazing so far the second half of the season. Do you guys remember at race 10 of the season, with only 8 races to go in the regular season, Onjak was sitting in, I believe, on the cutoff line. He just barely made it to the cutoff line. This number 38 team did not make it here easily. They definitely had to fight their way through, and yeah, coming into Memphis and Talladega, this 38 team wasn't even close to the top of the standings. It was just Angel Vittoria and Matt Morley and Lana Lauterbach. But throughout these final 8 races, this 38 team showed up, showed out, and now they have a regular season championship under the belt, and they're chasing for a championship here in these final 10 races. As he makes his way around Chris Martins, I think that will do it. So Peter Onjak will get his fourth win on the season, and we'll see what he's able to do at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. We know he's not strong at road courses. He struggles at short tracks. We have so many great short track guys, but we saw a lot of battles between the midfield early in this one. It doesn't look like we quite have too many right now, but that 0-2 of Gale, man, what happened to him? He's still in 11th, but now Dorn's looking to the inside of 11 of Jornton, who's a piece of lap traffic here. But yeah, it's just been a very just amazing second half of the season for this 38 team, and they certainly earned the right to be the regular season champion and be this good, because they certainly have showed up. They got the struggles out the way early in the season, and now they look to be all focused in. So the early season struggles, they got all their jitters out, and now the way it's going so far, they could very well be the season 1 champion here for the Gainbridge Truck Series. But how many races to go? We're going to have about 6 or 7, I think. So it's going to be a pretty fun fight. Yes, there's going to be 7 races left after this one here at New Hampshire, but we're down to 5 to go here, and if Onjak doesn't have any issues, we should be good to the finish. But a caution can come out at any time, and if it does, it could bring out overtime. The first time we'll ever see overtime here in the Gainbridge Truck Series. We have not seen it yet this season. But he is making quick work of Nicholas Torres here, who's all the way up to 14th in this race, but not a very good feat if this 38 is already passing you. Linebackers can finally get past the 33 of Dave Wallace. At one point, it did look like that 92 of Sanjo Vittoria had an answer for this 38, but it seems like 38 has a great long-run truck, and 92 was getting something going while they were fighting in lap traffic. But it seems in the clean air, he's just not too good, which is pretty odd. You think it would be the opposite, but next weekend we will have the Lordco Auto Parts 250 at Canadian Tire. I'm not sure how many laps it will be yet, but that'll be a very interesting race. Those drivers are very racy on that track. we take our second international trip of the year. We went to Mexico City earlier this season, which was actually announced to be that is not going to be returning to the schedule, but here we go. Coming around to 2 to go here for the 38 of Peter Onjak. He won at Nashville. He won at Pocono in the final couple laps. Almost got a win at Watkins Glen, but he got the win at Darlington Raceway in the final laps. Sometimes you can call him the closer with his nickname. Oh, Dixon getting involved with him, but sometimes you can call him the closer with his nickname. Didn't have to do much of that here tonight, as he dominated this race. Got around Brandon Haynes earlier, lunged to the inside. But here he goes, coming to the white flag here in the Timberland 200. Peter Onjak looking for his 4th race win on the season. The race is official now, no matter what happens on this final lap. Finished 1st at Darlington, 16th at Richmond, and now he looks to be getting his 4th win on the season. And coming out of turns 3 and 4, Peter Onjak's going to get his 4th win on the season and win the Timberland 200 here at New Hampshire. So Peter Onjak gets his 4th race win on the season behind them. It will be Sanjo Vittoria in 2nd. 3rd will be Landon Lauterbach. 4th will be Brandon Haynes. 5th will be Patrick Finderop. 6th will be the 7 Matthew Hubert. Then we'll have the 19 Ryan Little, I think. No, 17 Nathan Stapleton. 19 Ryan Little. 77 Alexander Rowe. 91 Adorn. And rounding out your top 10 was the 91 Adorn, but a lot of trucks lapped down, but I think it was a pretty solid race in the beginning. Onjak comes through past their inspection here, but I think it was a very solid race. Saw a lot of midfield battles at the beginning. There wasn't a lot of battles for the lead in this one, but sometimes that's the case. I feel like we got spoiled a little bit when it came to Darlington, Indianapolis, Watkins Glen, New Smyrna. Even though those races were, even Pocono, that was a pretty good race. Worldwide Technology as well. This last second half of the season's been very good. We got spoiled with some races, and now we're kind of entering that rough stretch where we have some of those races that aren't quite as good. The bar's set high. Sometimes it's not the greatest race, but Peter Onjak, you can't get mad when the driver that dominated all day wins. So congrats to the 38 team. They get their 4th win on the season. They're cruising very well going to Canadian Tire. They might not have to do too much at that track, and they can just nurse it to the finish because we know he's not too good at the road courses. But yeah, so a great day for Onjak and that 38 team, folks, and we'll get into the results here in a minute. But folks, as we get into our finishing results here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Peter Onjak gets the win. Sanjo Vittoria finishes 2nd. Elena Lauterbach in 3rd. Brandon Haynes in 4th. Patrick Finderop in 5th. And rounding out your top 10 will be number 91 Arago Dorn, but finishing 6th will be Matthew Hubert. 7th will be the 17 of Nathan Stapleton. 8th and 9th will be Alexander Rowe and Ryan Little. And Chris James gets a good result. I think he finished where he started, though. The 02 of Gale got a pretty good results for how his race was going. The 13 of Dixon he remained in the same spot all race. Carl Young gets a pretty good performance, but Ayers rounds out the top 10. Watson finishes in 21st, so that's a good finish for Emily York Watson. I sometimes forget that even if a lap down, you can still battle, but Watson finishes in 21st. You got Monaco. Latiska finishes pretty well. Lexi Herman finishes 25th. Arcadia finishes all the way down in 40th. So Arcadia, I guess, did not get on the right side of pit strategy here. I would assume as they just did not do too good. You can look here, but I don't think they had any major issues. But they finished 40th. Speaking of major issues, the 98 of Chris Martins got a slow start to the race, and then it's about 3 laps down. I think he finally got his truck fired off. So from the drop of the green flag was not too much of good luck for this number 98 team. The lowest finishing chase driver looks to be the number 31 of Morley. No, it's going to be the 9 of Ayers. So Ayers is the lowest finishing chase driver here today. But they all finished inside the top 20, unless my eyes deceive me. So pretty good day for all the chase drivers. I'm not sure how close it'll make it. I Matthew Hubert finishing in 6th. He's right behind Onjack in the chase standings. Hubert's had a pretty good run so far. He's only 17 points behind. So, matter of fact, we will take a look at the chase standings here in a moment, but I'll get that ready for you guys. But this is the finishing results of this race, and we'll take a look at the chase standings after this one. So taking a look at your chase standings following this race at New Hampshire, Peter Onjak will have a 26-point lead over Landon Laudenbach, so he gains 2 points exactly on Laudenbach at the conclusion of this race. I mean Laudenbach. Did I say Laudenbach? Hubert, I meant. Laudenbach and Sanjay Vittoria are just under a race behind on points, assuming the number 38 wins. So it's getting a little bit out of reach for some guys, but David Dixon, William Ayers, Rob, I still think this is a pretty good fight. I mean, I think these guys are rather happy it's not the regular just points standings where we just don't even have playoffs at all, but because Onjack's blowing everyone out the water and just point standings alone. But here in the chase, it does give guys opportunities in. I mean, you see right here, a lot of guys still finish pretty well in this race, so I don't think it is any I think they're doing rather good. It's just these races right here. Richmond caused a lot of issues, and Darlington. So if the issues stay out the way, I mean, these guys still have some pretty good runs. But Onjack has a great lead right now, and he looks like he could be on course to winning the championship, clinching the championship very soon. I mean that's very close. I mean, we still have a good amount of races left. I don't think you can really have a clinching scenario until about the Charlotte Roval or Martinsville Speedway. So we'll see how these next 4 races play out. But besides that, folks, thank you all for tuning in to our Truck Night in America live here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you guys this upcoming Sunday for Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. A new road course. We've been on a good amount of road courses so far this season. We have 2 more left. We go to Canadian Tire. Should be a great one. This is Charlie Davenport signing off from our Truck Night in America. Good night.